Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nupehadda. I have just gotten off work and I actually have to go somewhere. So I bought myself a vent holder for my iPhone, and I figured I'd do this because I have some things I want to talk about regarding Yu-Gi-Oh! And everything. I haven't decided what I want to call this video. It might be road travel, rambling, or something of that nature. Who knows? But there's been a few things that has been coming up recently in Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's go ahead and get into discussion about it. First of all, we have some players who think that Cyframes will win the North American qualifiers in about less than 8 weeks. I believe the qualifiers are in about 8 weeks or so. Now, here's my thing. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind Cyframes to win the North American qualifiers. But there's a few problems with this. One, the only good card they have main deck wise is Cyframe Gamma. He's the monster negator. But the problem is we have Ash Blossom in the format now. So there's no way Gamma is going to top Ash Blossom. Like they can Gamma the Ash Blossom, but other than that, if the rows are reversed, Gamma is not going to be useful, because Ash Blossom can stop Gamma if Driver is in the deck. If it's in the graveyard, then all bets are off on that point, because I don't believe Ash Blossom can touch Gamma if Driver is only in the graveyard. Now, if there is a Driver in the deck, I do believe your opponent does have the right to know where you're getting your Driver from. Then they can activate Ash Blossom, because Gamma and all the other Cyframe monsters grabs Driver from hand, deck, or grave and special summons it to the field. So that's something you've got to consider. Also, I just don't see Omega doing as much as it would in True Kings and Zodiacs and stuff like that. I believe that in Cyframes themselves, it's not going to matter, because Omega is their only big play. If we had better cards in the deck, mostly like either spells or traps that actually benefited Cyframes, this wouldn't be so much of an issue. But the problem is that we have everything we need in Cyframes, but we don't have backfield to protect us that well. We only have one good card, and that is Cyframe Overload. I wish Cyframe Accelerator did good for this format, but it's not good at all. We do have Multi-Threader, but that's only protection against destruction effects. And yeah, Multi-Threader is good and all and everything like that. I would run 2 to 3, because, pardon me, I do apologize for that. But all in all, Cyframes, I just don't see them winning. The only way that they could win is if they are the enigma of the North American qualifiers. But given how some people have already talked about it on YouTube and everything like that, I think they'll at least be prepared for Cyframes, because Gamma is already used as a side deck card against Zoos and True Kings. So him and Driver. But we'll just have to see on that. My biggest prediction, even with the new ban list that we've just gotten, is Zoos and True Kings are going to be up there. Like, there's no way around it. You have you have Zeus, and you got True Kings. Regardless of Norden getting banned, it hasn't touched Zeus or True Kings. They're still powerful. The only thing they did was make it more easier to deal with in terms of time. Like, you don't have that 10-minute combo going on. Like, it's probably more like 3 to 5 now, but the Zeus are just going to be topping. There's no ways around that. If side frames do win the Nationals and everything like that for the qualifiers for North America, I'll be surprised. But there's not much more to say about that in terms of side frames. Now, in terms of what else has been going on, some people have been raging about Norden being banned. I've already said this in the last video. I personally believe that Insta-Fusion should have been banned. However, given how the format has been transforming before the ban list, I kind of have second thoughts about that. Like, before Zeus and everything like that, yes, Insta-Fusion should have just been banned. Norden was fine and everything like that. But with Zeus now and with Fusion substitution, it's Norden needed to go. Like, he became too powerful. And, like, I wouldn't mind the Insta-Fusion getting hit, but at this stage of time with the format, with Zeus and True Kings and everything like that, the Insta-Fusion hit would have made no sense. So Norden had to go, and I truly believe that 100% now, looking at what the statistics are. And most of my information from the last video in terms of the ban list and everything like that are based on old information, because I retired last year on February 14th of 2016. I still keep in contact with stuff and everything, but I don't plan on competitive marketing. However, with the recent stuff that's been going on, it seems that it might be enticing to get out of retirement. Maybe get back into the competitive market again. I'm not entirely sure, because we have Ash Blossom and all that, but if Zeus can get hit in August, we might see you might see a lot more competitive decks and everything like it, regardless of my Silent Knight deck, which some people, including Nanashi, has actually made some positive feedback on that, and there are some things I want to address on it. First of all, I'm going to be taking out the Evil Swarm, and I'm going to be taking out Ghost Trick Alucard for two reasons. One, Ghost Trick Alucard is more of a older rank 3 build that is more focused on when we have spells and traps in the game. We mostly now have spells and monsters to deal with. Traps, with the exception of my deck, is not that commonplace, and the majority of them are just, quick effects or counter traps. So Alucard makes no sense now. And Evil Swarm Ouroboros, I'm probably mispronouncing that, I do apologize, but you know me, I mispronounce a lot of things. But Ouroboros is too hard to summon, and puts me in a scenario where I don't want to summon him, because Rebellion Dragon does the job better, and his rank 5 counterpart that I have, which I decide to get another one. Hopefully it'll be coming in before June 2nd, and I'll be able to have 2 Dark Rebellions and the 2 rank 5 guys in there. So that will make the deck a lot more better in terms of the rank plays. Majority of everything else is going to be the same, but I did get another Silent Swordsman level 7 ultra rare at the same time that I'm getting the Dark Rebellion rank 5 guy. So hopefully before June 2nd I'll have those in, and I can put those in the deck, and I can make better plays with that. And people who like my video of the Silent Knights and everything like that, I do appreciate y'all for y'all's comments. Some people did ask me why I'm running the Silent Swordsmen and everything. Well, here's the thing. Phantom Knights, even the trap monsters, are warriors. Silent Swordsmen's, at least the level 7, is an Imperial Order that's on legs, and it does not cost me any life points to use. Not only that, because the Silent Sword Slash is a spell card that cannot be negated by, or its activation and effect cannot be negated, Silent Swordsman level 7 can benefit that, jumping it to 4300 attack permanently. And for that turn, is unaffected by my opponent's card effect. So that means there's two ways that they can get rid of him. They have to overpower him in battle, which is not going to be easy for them, or they kaiju me. And we know how kaijus are. Which, there's only a few things that my silent deck cannot get over. Pardon me. I'm not used to talking this much, so... Silent Swordsman is a very good card. I'm surprised that he's not being played more often in the meta. However, I don't believe there's that many warriors in the meta right now that are being used in True Kings and Zoos. Zoos are pretty much beast warriors. True Kings are wyverns and dragons, I believe. And some are dinosaurs, but wyverns and beast warriors are the big things right now. Like, there's hardly any warriors, so the format's not using them. Besides, we have Imperial Order at 1, which I've not had to run into right at the moment, but then again, I have been playing casually, so if I get back into the competitive market, I at least know that I'm probably going to hit Imperial Orders. But my deck doesn't worry much about it, especially Silent Sword Slash. So let them pay their life points. I'll get around it. Majority of my deck is monsters and traps anyway, so. And with Dimensional Barrier at around $30 the last I've checked, I still don't think I'm going to buy them. My reason is this. Regardless of what I do, there is always going to be a secondary option for them to go. True Kings don't care about Dimensional Barrier because they can get around it. They pretty much have main deck stuff. Zoos, on the other hand, have to get around him. But I think for the most part, Dimensional Barrier is not that great of a card. It's a good card when we had to deal with more about synchros and stuff like that, and we knew what was going to hit. But Zoos is the only ones that really affects. No other deck in the current meta right now is being affected by Dimensional Barrier, except mirror matches. So currently there is no reason for me to get Dimensional Barriers, because one, it'll just put more strain onto my deck. Because you have to capitalize on getting your resources on the field after you do a Dimensional Barrier play. If you cannot do that, you are screwed. Period. There is no way around that. You have to excuse me. You have to push through when it comes to Dimensional Barrier. If you do not, you are screwed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, that being said, that being said and everything, Imperial Order is probably the better choice. I might try to put that in my side deck at least, because I already have 3 Imperial Orders in my main deck, which are level 7s. not really much is done with the Silent Swordsmen or the Silent Night deck. Side deck is still being a pain. It is one of those decks that you can't really mess with it. You mess with it, it messes with everything. So right now I'm trying to deal with what I can put in the side deck. And if I can find a way to make the side deck functional with the main deck, then I should be good. But at the moment, there is no way for me to make the side deck functional for Silent Knights to play around at the moment. I do have some ideas, but right now it's just Silent Knights are pretty much done in terms of the competitiveness that I can do for it. I'm still working on the extra deck, but I think the tweaking that I'm about to do with it will just set it to where it needs to be. I tried using the Evil Swarm rank 4s and 5s, and in the current meta, it just doesn't work. And really, what more can you do with the deck? So I'm supposed to be traveling for at least a good 2 hours, I think. And I know a lot of y'all are not going to watch a 2-hour video about me talking, so. But, you know what? I'm going to see if I can actually get this uploaded tonight. So let's see if I can talk for 2 hours. I normally don't, unless someone else is here and we bounce off ideas and everything like that. But you guys are here, right? You're all with me in the car, right? Anyways, Sylvans, I've been seeing some play from what I understand. I don't know if they're going to be getting to the top tier or anything like that, but it is interesting that they're coming back. Only because of one card. How is it that one card can make the whole difference for an entire deck? It doesn't have to be a good card. It doesn't have to be a great card. It just has to be one card. It can be the most generic card in the world. One card can make the deck from being a dead deck to near competitiveness. I just don't understand that. And it kind of irks me when it does stuff like that, because it means I have to deal with it, even on a casual level. But I mean, Sylvans, I've seen them play, and they're more luck based than anything, unless you know what the card's going to be. Like, there's no way to play that deck on a competitive level that does not involve luck. Luck is everywhere for this deck, and to play it purely on skill is not happening. Especially when reasoning and all, or reasoning, the grass is greener, all that's at one. The important stuff for them. Though, does the grass greener? Does that excavate or does that mill? I don't recall. Now that I'm truly thinking about this, I want to say it excavates, because they changed mill to excavate for Sylvans. They did that with reasoning. They did that with Monster Gate. So I don't know. Probably does. What else can we talk about here? Actually, I got a small rant. You know, I'm not going to really say much on it, but why in the heck has Kaiju's not been winning? You have a deck full of monsters that tributes off your opponent's monsters. They could be the most powerful monsters in the world, and you just kaiju them. How are they not winning? How are they at least not top in a regional? I mean, come on. What is it? You got, what is it? 9? You got 9 kaijus. if I recall. 9 kaijus. You can run at least 2 of each. If you really wanted to, you can run 4. And, well, no, for the actual kaiju deck, you need them all except for the bad one. But you have all those kaijus, and you have 2 slumbers. And you have other resources. Like the stupid alien, the Greys. I think they're called the Greys, but you got those aliens that captures your monsters when they die. So how is this an issue? Is True Kings and everything more powerful than I'm realizing? To the point where not even kaijus can deal with them? Or is it just bad playing? Because from a strategic standpoint, from a logical standpoint, kaiju should be beating the living tar out of everyone, unless they have a special summon negator like Vanny's Impotence, which we don't have anymore, thank God. But there's nothing in the game right now that's a Vanny's Impotence outside of Majestic Fiend. And only Monarchs play that. And speaking of Monarchs, why are they coming back? Seriously. Why are Monarchs starting to come back again? I thought we were done with these jerks. Sorry, I'm ranting, but still, Monarch should be either close to near death or unplayable to the point that where True Kings and all that are just beating them down. There is no excuse for this. Monarch should not be coming back. There's no reason for him to come back. Like, the format has not gone to the point to where we need to rely on older cards, like Monarchs and stuff like that. Burning Abyss, at the current moment, could not beat anyone in the top 8 at any regionals. There's no way for him to. Even with the zoos, there's no way for Burning Abyss right now, or ever after the Link format starts, will they ever be powerful again. You could literally put all of the Burning Abyss monsters, now hear me out on this, all of the Burning Abyss monsters. I never said Eternal Lady. Eternal Lady is not a Burning Abyss monster. She helps them, but she is not a Burning Abyss. So all of the Burning Abyss monsters, Griff, Sir, could go back to 3. And nothing would change once we get the Link format going on. Because Link monsters screws them over. They cannot keep monsters on the field long enough to justify bringing out Dante and everything like that. Sure, you can play the slower version of Burning Abyss. You can also play the Malakota build, which is extremely slow. But Phantom Knight the Burning Knights, or as everyone else calls them, PK Fire, is dead. There's no way for that deck to survive. The Phantom Knight deck that I have can survive. It just has to be more strategic about what it does. And it can get rid of its extra deck monster from the extra monster zone. So there's not a real problem there. My only big issue is that if I need to make multiple exceeds, I'm going to have to rely on Link monsters to be able to get them. Which means I'm going to have to figure out what Link monster is going to be important. Now, I don't know what decks are going to survive this once Link format starts, but I hope to God the Dark Synchros die horribly. Because Level Eater needs to get destroyed. I swear, if I see another Dark Synchro deck on Dev Pro or Yugi Pro or whatever, and I see Level Eater being summoned 14 times in a turn, I'm going to flip tables. I don't care if it's anyone else's tables. Tables will be flipped. So, yeah. I am so sick of the Dark Synchros. I wouldn't mind it if it didn't take so long. 12 minutes. I've honestly, waited this long for one turn, and they go into stupid Quasar or the new Cosmic guy, whichever one they're feeling froggy about, because they can summon both at the same time if they truly wanted to. Or even better, they summon the Beetles, and then I have to sit on a monster that can't die by card effect or by battle unless I Fault Blade him and then destroy him with a Brick Sword, which sounds easy on paper, but if they already got the decent setup with the Dark Synchros and everything like that, it is a nightmare. But I mean, like I said, I'm just ranting right now, but it's not a bad rant. It's just, I'm just so sick and tired of these long, drawn-out combos that should not be more than 2 minutes long. And Zoos and Dark Synchros push it past 10. Even the most quickest person, I think, can only do the combos within 7 minutes at minimum, which is ridiculous. I hope to God that the qualifiers and the World Championships will hit them hard on the timers. I know they probably won't, but it's just one of those things I feel like needs to be addressed. I know that Dark Synchros are still going to be around. They'll probably have to really tighten up their extra deck for Link monsters, and they'll have to rely on Link monsters just so they can get more field presence. I haven't really looked at any Link monsters besides what I've been shown and from what I've been seeing on YouTube. Mostly from Deviant, or is it Deviant Yu-Gi-Oh? Or I don't remember his name, but he's been reviewing enough of the cards where I have an understanding of what I might want to try to get into. But I have to be able to acquire these at the same time. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing a format split where you have the Link mechanics in one and the normal or the old mechanics in the other. Because, let's be honest, I like synchros. I like doing the whole synchro thing and everything like that. I don't play Dark Synchros because, one, I would get more infuriated, especially if I screw up a combo. I'm more, for my play style, I'm more about what is happening in the field now. What can I do to get myself out of these scenarios that I'm in at the current moment? I am not thinking 12 moves ahead on the same turn at the start of the game to figure out how to get Quasar Dragon out into the field and Cosmic at the same time. I don't have that type of mentality to do that. I'm too old to try. I'll leave y'all younger kids to do stuff like that. But my thing of it is, Dark Synchros is just a nightmare to watch. Because as soon as you get to a certain point, you lost the game. Because you can tell when they have everything they need, and the only thing they got to do is do one final synchro and go into Quasar and then keep going into Cosmic. So, yeah. I'm a bit bitter about Dark Synchros. there's not much I can really say about anything else in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh related that I can think off the top of my head besides what's been on the ban list that we've had to deal with, like Terratop going to 1. And I've already mentioned this, I pretty much had to halt my deck expansion building and everything like that when it came to Speedroids, because Speedroids are pretty much crippled at the moment until I figure something else out. But I'm going to point this out right now. It took Zeus / True Kings to put Terratop to 1. It wasn't Burning Abyss. It wasn't Wind Witches. It wasn't any of that crap. It was Zeus. Zeus screwed everything up. So yeah, for all those who said, well, Burning Abyss is going to get Terratop to 1 or anything like that, screw you guys. Burning Abyss didn't do anything to you besides destroy you in the games. I will miss Terratop, but I'm keeping my fury because I bought 2 boxes. No, I bought 3 boxes. I bought 3 boxes, got everything except 1 Omega. I had to get another Omega. Each box contained an emergency teleport. I remember because I only pulled one out of each box. So I already figured the ratio on that. I only pulled 1 Omega. I think I needed a Gamma, a Beta, and I think those were the only 2 that I needed main deck wise for side frames back then. Like, I had everything else except for the last Gamma, Omega, and I think a Delta, which Delta was easy to acquire. Omega and Gamma Beta, Omega, and Gamma were the biggest trouble for me to get a hold of, especially Omega. But back then, Omega was only like $30, $30 to $40. It was going up, but it wasn't the skyrocket prices it is now. I kind of wish I got a second Omega, to make my play set, but I have 2 already. Unless y'all want to send me an Omega. I mean, I've tried to trade, but I don't know what y'all want. But there is one other subject I want to discuss. It's not Yu-Gi-Oh related, but it is card related. Sometime in July, Bandai is going to release Dragon Ball Z, the card game, with the newer stuff. And this is going to be the 4th time this game has been revised. However, Bandai is handling it directly, which in turn, Funimation and Bandai have legal rights to make and distribute Dragon Ball Z content from the Japan company. I don't remember who publishes in Japan for Dragon Ball Z Super and all, but anyways, I'm going to buy a box and a couple of starter decks, and I'm going to see how it happens. Now, Bandai, I don't know if you all will watch this. You probably watch this in the very future, but here's my thing. If you cancel this, I swear I will never buy anything else Bandai related ever again. Y'all have done messed up the Dragon Ball Z game twice already. The recent reincarnation, you decided to pull away from the other company that was making them so that way you could have your own. And they couldn't do anything because of copyright things, and that means anyone who bought those products or SOL, because they cannot play them in your new game. So here's the thing. I'm buying one box. At least 1 to 2 starter decks, depending on how much money I still have after that. I want to try your game, because the game looks easy enough to play. Of course, I'm saying it now, and it's going to be like Card Fight Vanguard in terms of the luck factor. But it's not going to be as bad as Vanguard. It's a mixture of Vanguard / Magic the Gathering. Now, I played a little bit of Magic the Gathering, but I at least know what I'm doing. And from the video and everything like that, I still have to watch the second tutorial, but it looks like it's going to be fun, and it looks easy enough to learn. So, yeah, Bandai, don't screw this up. I swear if you do, I will never buy another product from you. And in case you're all wondering, we have tolls here. Because you know, state likes to issue taxes, tolls, and everything. And our tolls here are $2. Now I know y'all gonna say, well, $2 isn't much because there are certain states that have $6 tolls. But you gotta realize each state has their own economy. West Virginia is not known for its rich economy nowadays. Back in the 70s and early 80s they did, but not anymore. Hopefully our current president might change that. We don't know. I don't want to get into much politics and everything. But I'm hoping at least something will happen here that will benefit us in the long run. In terms of the state and everything like that. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! And everything like around here in West Virginia is not commonplace. So, our biggest regional is either Columbus or it is going to be in Pittsburgh. And considering Columbus at the current moment has tornado issues, I'm not heading up there. Pittsburgh usually does as well, but they haven't had anything yet. Only thing Pittsburgh usually has is crazy people. So I ain't dealing with that. At least not yet. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. But yeah, I gotta go through 3 tolls, going to my destination, and then 3 tolls coming back. Which will be on a Sunday. Probably. Maybe. It's hard to tell. But we'll see what happens. Hello. Thank you, ma'am. Alrighty then. How are we going to do this? Say, tolls are usually bad in terms of driving, especially when you got rigs all over the place. And given the current development on tractor trailers and everything like that, keep flipping over on the interstate for the past since November. We've been having many wrecks in West Virginia when it comes to big rigs. Closing off interstates. Literally, closing interstates where you have to go to the back roads and everything like that. So, yeah, that's fun. So, there are barriers between us, between this road and the roads on the other side that's going that way. Explain to me how a 16-wheel truck, rig, big rig, however you want to pronounce it, crashes not only on the road that I'm on, but also goes across the other road without breaking a barrier. This has happened at least 3 times in West Virginia within less than 6 months. So yeah, I'm getting a bit off Yu-Gi-Oh! I admit that, but I still have an hour and 30 minutes of driving. So you're going to hear practically everything. So yeah, this is probably going to be Road Trip Rambles or something of that nature. I'll think of a title. But yeah, you're going to hear practically everything that I want to say. So buckle in. You're going to have to deal with it. Like I'm dealing with this slow rig. And of course, everyone and their freaking uncle. And if you're wondering why I'm yelling, well, not yelling, but I'm speaking louder than normal, it's because I know that there's a sound that's being played behind my iPhone, because my iPhone is sitting right in front of a vent for the air conditioning, and I have no way of turning that off, and I refuse to turn off my air conditioning for y'all. It is like close to 100 degrees outside. I am not turning off my air conditioning. I have it set on number 2 right now, which is fine. That means I have enough air coming through for both my legs and for the body and everything like that, keeping me cool. And I am loud enough where y'all can hear me. At least I hope. I swear, if this video gets screwed over for 2 hours and everything like that, I'm going to be upset. But it is 4:45, and we have already had 41 minutes of this. But I bet y'all wondering where I'm going, if you're all still watching at this point. Well, I'll tell you, I'm heading to Princeton, West Virginia. Now, I'm not telling you where I'm coming from, because I like my privacy. I'm a very private person. Most of my friends will tell you that. I'm not usually the most outgoing person in the world. You won't see me at a party or anything like that. I'm more likely will hang out with people, sure, but I'm not going to go to a party almost every night. It's not my style. I'm more of someone who'll sit down and play video games with y'all, chewing the fat, which in layman's terms means I'll talk your ear off if it's something of interest, and pretty much whatever comes into mind. But West Virginia itself, I don't mind. I know some people hate West Virginia because, let's face it, West Virginia is not for everyone. I wouldn't call it a state where people retire to, but it's a state with history, and our evolution in terms of technology and everything is at least 20 years behind everyone else. Now you might think, well, you're driving a decent car. Well, yeah, it is a decent car and everything. That doesn't mean it came from West Virginia. It probably came from any other state, but I'm just saying. We're usually one of the last few states that gets up-to-date technology. By the time we get up-to-date technology, it's already obsolete. That's true with technology in general, but we're a good 10 years obsolete at this point. I say 20 because, sounds about right. That's how it's always been for West Virginia. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is no different in this regard. You will not find very many areas in West Virginia that plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic Gathering, sure, you'll find a lot of players for that. Because Magic Gathering is one of those card games that will last forever, like Dungeons and Dragons. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is more of a foreign card game that translates to English, sure, but we have our American pride. Especially West Virginians. West Virginians, we just have, well, the majority of them has pride in their state and everything like that. I mean, I have pride in myself, so. But I'm getting a little political on that, so I'm going to stop there. What I'm trying to say is, don't mess with us. We are a state that we're 20 years behind. So when we get into unnecessary politics on TV and everything like that, we don't know what y'all are talking about. insult us and everything like that, we're going to gang up on you. And it's not just because, we're bad people or anything, it's because you mess with family. You mess with our family, well, you mess with the rest of us. You get my meaning. We're pretty much closest to a mafia type net family. So, you think you're going to mess with one West Virginia? Think again. You mess with one, you have 20 more you got to deal with at least. Because we seek blood. Now, I will admit this, I don't like country music. Never have, probably never will. There's only a few exceptions, and that's only because they're actually good country songs. But I've tried to listen to country music, and it's like a cat scratching the chalkboard with metal sharp claws. It's not a pretty sight, and it doesn't sound good. Because let's face it, majority of country songs nowadays is about the guy / girl losing their loved one either because they cheated / died / found a new lover, stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty much a drama fest. I'm more about older music. I listen to rock and roll. I listen to old stuff. Like, the latest things that I'll listen to is probably in the late 80s. Maybe early 90s. I say maybe on that because there are some songs in the 90s that are acceptable. But I refuse to listen to the 90s, for the most part, when the Macarena ran for 3 years straight at the top of the charts. No. The 80s was the last good generation of songs before the 90s hit. The 2000s, they tried. Some succeeded, majority of them failed, but anymore it's either country or rap, and I have no use for it. So, yeah. Yeah, I know, I'm rambling on. As I said, this is not just a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. This is pretty much whatever I've got in my mind. Yu-Gi-Oh was pretty much the start of this. So, this will probably be a one-time deal video. I don't know. I might just do this on shorter trips, like 10 to 30 minutes, because I can at least think of other stuff. But I don't know. And I do apologize for the shakiness, but West Virginia roads are not known for their soft, landscape. We do have some bumps and everything like that because, let's face it, the state on a financial way has had better times than anything else to do road repairs. So, no matter what we do, we're always going to be having construction wherever we go. And to be perfectly honest, I'm kind of surprised I haven't seen construction work anywhere near me. Of course, I'm probably jinxing myself at this point. But what else can I talk about here? Well, I guess I can talk a little bit about myself. When I was a young man, about 8 to 10 maybe, I got into a couple of hobbies, small hobbies. One of them was a big hobby. And technically, I still get into this hobby a little bit, but not as much as I do with Yu-Gi-Oh. When I was a young man, I read a book about the RMS Titanic. This was back in junior high. So it might have been a lot older than 10. Like, I just don't remember. So when I started reading this and everything, I got interested in the Titanic. And eventually I started getting books on the Titanic. At some point, me and my dad, yes, I know it's improper and I'm going to shut up, I'm from West Virginia. Leave me alone. Me and my dad, I got a Titanic model for Christmas. Now, it's not already built. This had to be pre-built. This had to be built by us. So that was something we did for a long time. We finished. Well, we got 80% of it done. It floats, okay? It could float on its own if I actually did more modification to it. But the point of the matter is, I also joined the Titanic Historical Association. I'm not into it now because, money-wise and stuff like that, it still costs money. I think back then it was like $10 a subscription for a month. Which wasn't bad back then, but I'm sure it's gone up. But, I got so interested in the Titanic and everything. I still watch videos of this day, like on YouTube, about the different discoveries, the documentation, stuff like that. And I know y'all probably don't care about the Titanic and everything like that, so I won't go into much detail. But, as I said, this is something that I got into. Now, my dad won't talk much about my family side because, one, as I said, I'm a private person, so I'll try to at least talk about their hobbies. My dad, he likes to do the family trees, like do the historical facts about our family tree. Genealogy, I think it's called. And that's his thing. My mom enjoys cross-stitching. And my sister, one of them, she is an artist slash bartender slash secretary. I think that last part's correct. I have to ask her about it, but she's done a little bit more different things than I have. I just do retail. I pretty much work at a grocery store. People like me generally do around here, so either that or work at fast food or anything like that. But my first job was working at the Marriott. Now, the Marriott used to have Alley's American Grill. The one that I was at is now known as the Whitewater Grill, but they might have changed that over the years because I haven't been with them since 2009. But I used to work as a dining room attendant, a busboy. So it was a pretty good job in terms of what it did and everything like that. Made some good money, but it's a very hard job. And doing double shifts on a Saturday and Sunday is not fun. I stayed with them for a good 3 years, and then I put in my 2 weeks notice, and there was another job offer somewhere else, a location called TRG. TRG is just a company that contracted out to other companies to do tech support thing. And what I did was the Verizon branch of that. I was tech support for Verizon. I wasn't part of Verizon. The company I was with was contracted by Verizon to handle all the tech support. So anyone that you answer or get a call to, let me say that again. Anytime you call for tech support for anything, generally they are not part of the company. They are taught to deal with the issues and everything like that, but more likely they're within their company. But they cannot tell you that. They have to tell you the company that they're contracted with. That way you don't flip out and everything like that. But I stayed with that for 6 months because anyone in this area, West Virginia, who's heard of TRG will know what I'm talking about. It's not the greatest place to have a sustainable job. The turnover rate for TRG at that time, this is back in 2009, so I don't know if things have changed or not, But the turnover rate was pretty much the same rate as getting people in. I lasted for 6 months. And I got a couple of good friends out of it. Still talk to one of them. Well, I sent them letters. They're out of state. And that's as far as I'm going with that. Although, besides getting friends and everything like that, I got so sick. I got so tired mentally and everything like that from all the things I had to do on the tech support side of things. I started to get physically sick. So I eventually got to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore. So I put in my 2 weeks and left. And for a good 2 months after that, I believe, yeah, it was March. It was around March when I put in my 2 weeks and then I just left. I just never talked to them again. They contacted me asking why I quit and everything like that. I explained and I told them I wasn't going to come back. And then about a month or so later, I got into my current job, and I've been with the company for 8 years. So I lasted longer here at my current job, which is a grocery store, than I did at my other two. But I'm more happier with this job than I was at my last job. Granted, at my last job I was making a good chunk of money, but you got to outweigh how much you're getting paid versus how much you can stand it. And I do have a lot of tolerance for things, but even then, once you start getting physically sick from all the stress, you just have to, leave. There's no point in staying. Like, I'm sure maybe most of it could have been avoided if I really thought about it, but to be honest, TRG was not my thing. I thought I could do it. I did it for a good 6 months. I think it was a month of training. I remember that. And then 5 months of work. And I even got paid for the training. So that was good. But at the end, I just couldn't take it anymore. Like, besides dealing with the issues that the Verizon company would send us, you had to deal with people. And my biggest problem was that I wanted to help them as much as I could. But the TRG wanted quantity over quality of calls, because my job was a tech support analyst. See, I didn't learn that I was a tech support analyst. I was told tech support for the longest time until like the last few months of where I worked there. Then they said, you're just a tech support analyst. Your job is to figure out what's going on. If you can fix it, great. If not, at a certain amount of time, you transfer it to another department. So that then help matters. And like I said, I tried to keep up with it, but you get to a point where you just can't deal with it anymore. So I put in my 2 weeks, I left, joined my current job for 8 years, and I'm still with the company I'm with now. And I'm happy that I'm there, but of course, there's always going to be issues no matter what. But they're not big issues. They're just conflicting issues, small issues, issues that can be overlooked, like nothing legal or anything like that. Just my mindset versus theirs, like how things should be and everything. But I have besides conflict of interest in terms of how things should be, I have no issues with where I work at. Like, I get paid, I can pay the bills, I help the customers out when I can, and sometimes deal with customers more than I like to when they get angry, or irate as we call it. But I mean, heck, you gotta deal with it. That's part of life. So What else? Like, it's pretty much been an hour, hasn't it? 59, 54. Yep, it's been an hour. Or at least close to an hour. What else can I really say? I mean, there's not much to talk about, or at least there's not much I'm willing to talk about in terms of my personal life. Y'all already know I have a mom and a dad, which is commonplace, or mostly common. And you already know I have one sister. I haven't talked about my other brothers and sisters. But there's not much on the personal life of myself that I'm willing to talk about. However, let's see if we can get back on the ego things at least. Now, I do have some other decks I want to try out. One of them being that Spear Sea Dragon. But I'm not willing to pay $8 to $10 for Heatwave. I'm sorry, but it is not justifiable. Actually, I know what I really want to talk about. Why is it Star Strike Blast is the most infuriating set for EO that's ever been made? Ever since that set has came out and everything like that, over the years, important cards have come from that set that's like pennies worth, going to $20+ when newer stuff comes out, and it infuriates me. Like, most of the time, like for the longest time, Vanity's Emptiness, up until a certain point, I don't remember when this happened, but Vanity's Emptiness was not a problematical card. It was less than $5. You could buy 3 of them for $15, and that was acceptable. And then something happened where they skyrocketed to $20 a piece for commons. Give me a second. Ready?
Thank you.
Thank you. But yeah, $20 a piece out of nowhere. What else came out? That one bird card, Dreadlock, whatever it's called, it became a staple. Max C was Stormy Ragnarok. But Max C was Max C was Storm Ragnarok, but I don't remember if that was after Star Strike Blast, because that's where the Legendary Six Samurais came out of. But Star Strike Blast Star Strike Blast did not have Dreadlock. It had Vanity's Emptiness, it had Debunk, it had Dimensional Ground, which is currently a stupid card. Like, it had everything, but at the start of its set, it did not have, or none of the stuff it had was important when it first came out. Like, there was a few things that were important, but I mean, the rest of the stuff in there, majority, was not important until years later. So that's been my biggest gripe with Star. Every time I hear a card that's not been important become very important in a certain deck or anything like that, guess what set it is? And guess how much it went up? Star Strike Blast, and it's probably gone up by 300%. It infuriates me. Why should common cards go up so high for no reason? Yes, I know, Starstruck Blast, the set is discontinued. But that is besides the point. None of these cards were important until people started grabbing them. And I know that's stock market things and everything like that, but still, these cards were not important until that event. Then they become like gold mines and everything like that. Okay, I'm done ranting about it. I'm just going to get upset. You might see me cry or something. And I don't want that. It just infuriates me because it's a set that I didn't invest in that much because like the only things that I wanted was the remaining 6 Samurai stuff. Yeah, Starstruck Blast was after Storm Ragnarok, if I recall, because that had the dual wield trap card for them, 6 style dual wield. I don't remember what it's called exactly. It also had the did it have 6 Samurai United, or was that in the original set? I can't recall offhand. Oh no, it had dojos, Sheen's dojos, and it had Sheen Squire and stuff, and it also had Elder because you can use the Sezism to bring out Kagemusha and Elder to bring out Sheen or Notoria Beast, which were fun times. But yeah, there's also been cards in there that have not been important, but I have used in other decks. Miracle Synchro Fusion was in there, and I used that for side frames because I could bring out Ultimate Axe. So that was fun. It also, there were side frame support cards in there, wasn't there? Red Nova Dragon was in there as well. And I also got a cool Red Nova Dragon in there. It is an ultimate Red Nova Dragon, but it's a misprint. I'll have to show it one day. It looks like it was tripping off acid. I mean, the picture is good, but it looks like it's those double vision acid trips. I've never had an acid trip, so I'm only basing off what people have told me. I know people are going to call me a liar on this one, but I will be honest with you. I have never smoked, I've never done drugs or any of that nonsense. I have drank, not beer, scotch. But that was more for a storage thing that I was doing a while back. And when I mean a while back, I mean years ago. I can do stories, but I can never put them on paper. Or at least I can never figure a way to put it on paper. I can imagine a lot of things in my head. Like, you have no idea. Anyways, like I said, I've never done anything that was never like a prescription. Like, if I prescribe something, I'll take it. Like, I'm not going to question it unless it makes me feel bad. But I've never had a joint, I've never had marijuana, I've never had crack or anything, or even meth. But as I said, I have drank, but that's like a blue moon type scenario. I haven't drank in years. And I've never had a hangover or anything like that. So I'm blessed with that at least. I dread having a hangover. Like, I don't know what to expect on that. Please leave a comment down below what a hangover feels like. That way I don't have to experience it. But the closest that I've had of being drunk was getting buzzed by scotch, and that was mostly my fault because I actually got done with an exercise years ago, and I went to Chili's to eat, and it was like midday, and I was like, you know what, I walked here, I can walk back to the house, So I might as well get a scotch because I started to acquire a taste for it. And I got a scotch on the rocks, but I told them to not put any ice in it because, like, I never like scotch with ice. Because it tastes watered down. Like, I understand people are like, well, of course it's watered down, scotch with ice, but it never tasted right for me. I never had scotch straight up in a shot glass or in a rock glass, at least. But what had happened, and I didn't realize this until afterwards, but I started drinking scotch before I ate. And I was hungry, so I had an empty stomach after my workout and everything like that. So immediately the scotch started going into my system, and when I started getting up, because I was trying to stretch my legs, so that if I go somewhere to eat, I'm either going to do two things. I'm either going to eat fast or eat slow. If I eat slow, it's mostly because I'm relaxing or I'm chatting or whatever. But this is one of those days that I took it slow. So I start to get up because I either wanted to stretch my legs or I needed to go to the restroom or something of that nature, and I immediately sit back down. I'm like, what is going on here? Then I realized I was buzzed, and I was like, oh no. So I stayed longer than I intended, but I did eat. But I never had a hangover because I don't drink that much. Like, whatever, I guess a rock glass is equal to 2.5 shot glasses, I believe, 3 at most. So, I mean, if I ever meet someone and they want to go out for a drink, I'll do it, but I'm not going to drink heavily. I'm a light drinker. That doesn't mean I'm a lightweight, it just means I drink light. But other than that, I've never had anything else. So, like, for my viewpoint on it, it's like, why would I take drugs? From everything I've seen, regardless, like, not just from TV or anything, but from everything I've seen from where I used to live when I was a kid and everything like that, drugs are just terrible. Like, you get destroyed with drugs. And no, I'm not trying to be like the whole on the dare thing online, but I've seen people messed up on drugs. Either because they walk down the street or I've seen them, before and everything like that. We used to live in a coal mining place, or a coal mining town when I was a kid. So, in West Virginia. Coal mining towns in West Virginia, mostly in the southern parts, but you get the idea. And ever since the coal mines closed during the late 70s and early 80s and everything like that, that's when the deterioration starts coming into the community. And that's where drugs come into play. Now, thankfully, I was raised, in a family that did not rely on the drugs and everything like that. we're pretty much, still have a family and everything like that. Like, but I mean, we grew up. In an environment that I should have been on drugs, but I never did. Maybe it's because I saw enough at an early age of what drugs do to you. So, and I never wanted that weakness. Like, I think that pretty much put me off on ever wanting drugs because I saw what it did. It pretty much deteriorates you. Using X amount of drugs and everything like that will destroy your body. It will shorten your lifespan. It does all this crap. And cigarettes are no different. I mean, yeah, it's a slower process, but still. Cigarettes will destroy you slowly. Not as much as meth and everything like that, but it's a more controlled drug. Regulated, I should say. Now, there's not much more I can say on that, but hear me on this. when it comes, I know medical marijuana has been legalized. I don't care if people use medical marijuana as long as they're using it for the right reasons. Because I know medical marijuana can help people. But if you abuse it and everything like that, then you're just an addict. You're not doing it to help you. You're doing it to destroy yourself. And that's what really happens. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So anyone who's out there, having to be on medical marijuana and you're doing it right because you either have a very bad illness or cancer and everything like that, I hope for the best for y'all. But for y'all addicts and everything, I have no sympathy for y'all. Because you have the knowledge, more likely, before you did all this crap, of what drugs to do, and you still did it. And if you get in a scenario where, it causes you to, like, sharing needles and everything like that, where it causes you to get STDs and everything like that, I have no sympathy for y'all. Because you already had the knowledge, and you chose your fate. It always bugs me when someone is like, I smoked for 50 years and now I have lung cancer and everything like that. Can you help me? I'm like, no. You knew what cigarettes did. It has practically been plastered everywhere. Regardless of the 20 to 30 years, you probably did not know because I was still back in the 50s and stuff like that. By the time the 80s and 90s rolled around, you knew what it was going to be. You could have stopped, but you chose to keep going. And now you're in this predicament where you might have terminal cancer and everything like that. Then, no, I have no sympathy for you because you chose your fate. It's not my responsibility to treat you when you chose what you wanted. You made the deal, and now you have to stick with what you done. So, yeah, I know I'm getting into all of the morals and everything like that, but there's not much for me to talk about, and this is a subject that if someone seriously asked me about how I feel about it or anything like that, I'd straight up tell them. Because I don't mind medical marijuana as long as it's used for the purpose that it was designed for. But when you start abusing that and everything like that, then I just don't see the point of why. Sure, you get a high and everything like that, but you got to think long term of what it's going to do to you. And if I recall, in the southern parts of West Virginia, we're dealing with an opiate crisis. So, yeah, we're dealing with all that. Like, I have no sympathy for, like, the drug dealers and everything like that. If they got them down and everything like that, that's because more than likely they've caused a lot of anguish to families and everything like that. So it just kind of burns me up that they waste their lives on a substance, and then they say that they need help and everything like that. But by the time they ask for help and everything, it's either two reasons. One, they have screwed up to the point of no return, or they screwed up in the family to the point of no return. So either way, if you get to that point, I mean, you dug your own grave. That's just how I view it. But, well, here's the thing. We have 10% battery life. So, I'm going to keep talking, and two things are going to happen. I make it to my destination and we still have enough battery life, or this kicks off. If it kicks off, then I'll charge it up, and then we'll do another look at the video, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I don't know. I don't know what will happen if this kicks off. I don't know if it's going to corrupt the video. God, I hope it doesn't. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and turn the recording off, because I don't want this to be corrupted. I've already got an hour and 19 minutes onto this. I should have charged this up more, and I should have put on low power. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this off now, because this has been a little fun, and we'll see what happens. And I'm going to get to my destination, because I have one more toll. So, y'all have a nice evening, have a nice Memorial weekend, and we'll see you again next time. Good night.